What's going on, guys? My name is Ryan. Welcome to my channel. If you're not familiar with this channel, I do a lot of golf cart content. I use a lot of relays on my channel. A lot of people have questions about relays, so I thought about making a dedicated video just to relays, and that's what this right here video is going to be applied for today. Now, I use a lot of 12 volt relays, 36 volt, 48 volt, and 72 volt relays. I use a lot of this Bosch style relay here. Well, today we're going to go over the relay, what its intended purposes are, and other things that you can use a relay for. Let's get started. Now, this video here is being sponsored by TimGot. This is a lithium iron phosphate 12 volt battery here. This has the smart display at the very top here. It has a color touchscreen display. It shows the percentage of the battery, the current that's being used in real time, the voltage, the temperature of the battery in Fahrenheit, time to empty. Page 2 shows you that the discharge and the charge is on. And the third page here shows you the individual cells of the battery. This battery features a max discharge current of 100 amps continuous and a max charge current of 100 amps continuous as well. This battery also features a Bluetooth app that you can connect to your phone. So we're gonna do a capacity test on this battery here. The current says it's pulling 13.3 amps. The battery capacity tester is pulling 13.3 amps. So we're gonna let this right here run. Once this right here test is over, it'll tell us the voltage, the capacity, the energy, and the time it took for this test, running 13 amps. So the battery is at 2% right here and still pulling 13 amps. The voltage is 11.22 volts. It says it has 10 minutes to go. The capacity tester is still running. Voltage is the same, 96.84 amp hours, 1182 watt hours, and looks like 7 hours and 25 minutes it's running. So all of our tests today, we're going to be using this TimGot lithium iron phosphate 12 volt 100 amp hour battery. All right, so a relay, a Bosch style relay. This is what a Bosch style relay looks like here. It's a small cube, probably about 1 inch in diameter by 1 inch in diameter. They generally have a mounting bracket at the very back here with a hole so you can mount this to your application. And on the very bottom, you have your terminals or your pins. This pin here is number 85. This pin here is number 86. This pin on the very bottom is 30. The pin on the very top is 87. And the pin in the middle right there, that's gonna be pin number 87A. Now I showed you this right here, 5 pin, but check this out. This is a 4-pin relay. This is what you would consider a normally closed relay. And this relay right here is a 4-pin, but this is a normally open relay. You can see this one doesn't have the top pin, and this one doesn't have the middle pin like that one. All right, so we got this 12 volt relay here, and this is gonna be a 4-pin relay. Now, if you wanted to open it up the relay, you could do so. Take a flathead, put it in both sides. This cover will come off, the relay is right here. Set that aside there. Notice what the relay looks like here. This coil, this is what operates the relay. We have this lever here on the side of the relay right here. This is actually pin 30. If this relay here had the center pin, remember center pin is 87A, then this right here is what this little pin right here would connect to. Now, since this right here relay does not have 87A and it's just a 4-pin normally open relay, this connector here, or this pin here on this relay does not connect to anything. Now, once you energize the coil, pin 30 here will move between 87A and 87. All right, so I have pin 85 hooked up to the ground here of the battery. I have the positive of the battery in my left hand. We're gonna put it to 86. Now, what we're gonna watch for is pin 30, which is this right here, little arm here. Once we energize the coil, pin 30 will go from 87A to 87. See that? When it's on, pin 30 is going to 87. When it's off, pin 30 is going to 87A. So it lets you know that if this right here was a 5-pin relay, you would have continuity where the relay is off between 30 and 87A, and you would have continuity when the relay is on between 30 and 87. Now I got my ground wire on this side. I'm going to introduce power to 86 and you hear the relay click. Now when the relay's clicking, you remember the little lever inside the relay? It's just going between 87A and 87. That's the only thing it's doing. So let's go ahead and apply power here. And the relay is in the on position. So now, once we touch the lower terminal and the middle terminal, they will not have continuity. And they don't. But once we touch the lower one and the top one, they will. No continuity, continuity. We'll go ahead and remove power from the relay. This lower one here and the top one will no longer have continuity, but the one in the middle and the lower one will. It's very simple. So basically the relay is two switches built into one, okay? You have a switch here, these two right here, acts as a switch here, this leg here and this leg, and then when you turn the relay on, this leg and this leg have continuity. Now looking at the top of this right here, relay, it shows you 30A/40A. So this right here, relay will operate 30 amps or 40 amps of current. 30 amps is going to go between 30 and 87A, 40 amps between 30 and 87. Another thing we need to talk about, relay wiring harnesses. Do you notice anything between these relay wiring harnesses? Well, if you said color codes, then you would be completely correct here. Look at this color code. Green, green, white, yellow. Red, red, black, white. Red, blue, black, white, yellow. And this one is just red, black, yellow, and white. Well, check this right here out. Generally, in the car automotive industry, okay, red would be power, black would be ground. But that's not going to be the case in this situation, because red is actually pin 87. This black wire here is going to be pin 30. Blue is normally used for remote applications for turning on a car stereo amplifier or whatever, but this is going to pin 87A. This white wire here is going to pin 86, and this yellow pin is going to pin 85. See here, just like the bottom of a relay. So 85, 86, 87, 87A, and 30. So 30 does not mean ground, 87 does not mean power, 87A does not mean remote, 86 does not mean anything, and yellow does not mean anything either. It's just a color code for the harness. That's one of the things you need to pay attention to when you're wiring something up. Do not confuse these with the standard color codes for 12-volt electronics. And a solenoid is pretty much the same thing as a relay, except it's a normally open switch here, usually found, in front of a starter, between the battery and the starter, because you have a heavy gauge wire that comes from the battery here, a heavy gauge wire that would leave here going to the starter. So you wouldn't run those through with a switch. You'd run a switch on the smaller terminals here, one positive or negative on either side. So this right here operates the same way as this right here would if you did not have the middle pin. This right here solenoid will handle up to 85 amps generally, and they work the same way. These two larger posts here, see, no continuity. If we touch these together, we have continuity. So right now there's no continuity right there. Now if we go ahead and attach the alligator clips from the battery there and here, the solenoid is going to click. Here it's click. Do it again. On, off, on, off. So now we touch these two outside leads here and we'll have continuity. So we can take this right here. So pretty much a solenoid works the same way a relay does. It just handles more amperage than a relay will. All right guys, we'll go one step further here with the solenoid. This is a 12 volt solenoid here. And this right here is a 48 volt solenoid for a golf cart. See, it works the same way. You have your two larger lugs at the very top. These do not have continuity right now because there's no power applied to the smaller terminals. And when power is applied to the smaller terminals of a 48 volt solenoid for a golf cart, these upper two terminals, they make continuity and they connect. Generally, it sends power from the battery pack to the controller. All right, so I had to dig into my old parts bin here. I dug out this old air compressor. This is a Fire 450C. You look at it, it's the part number, the voltage, and then it says max amperage 23 amps. All right, I have the power wire of the compressor hooked directly up to the battery. And I have the negative of the battery running into the multimeter here. Negative's going here, positive's going here into the unfused location. I'm gonna pull amps up here, so it's 20. And once we attach the positive here to the negative, we're gonna see what kind of amperage the compressor is gonna pull. Okay, now on the compressor it said a max amp of 23 amps. So you wouldn't put this right here on a regular little small toggle switch inside your vehicle, because over time that toggle switch will burn up. Okay, notice one thing too, as soon as we turn the compressor on by contacting this right here, we're getting amps of around 4 amps. Okay, we're getting around 4 amps when we touch the positive of this right here multimeter to the negative here. Now I say positive, I meant positive of the multimeter lead. It's just the lead of the multimeter, it's not positive. We're just measuring the amperage of the compressor. Now if I take my finger and start covering this right here end up, the amperage is going to go up. And the reason it's doing that is because it's going to have to work a little bit harder. I'm going to put you on a tripod to show you exactly what I mean. So right now we're pulling around 4 amps. I'll cover this right here, it's going to work harder. 9 amps, 10 amps, 11 amps. This right here compressor will pull up to 20, what did we say, 25, 23 amps, okay, of a load. And if you put that on a basic toggle switch, over time that toggle switch will burn up and then you won't have a compressor. And if you don't have a compressor, well, your truck or your car will probably sit on the ground. Now we have our red wire from the multimeter hooked up to the red wire of the battery. This right here is going to represent a switch right here. So once we hook this black terminal here to the yellow one, this right here is going to show us how many amps we're pulling from our switch. So our switch is pulling 0.16 amps. Not even 1 amp is being pulled from the compressor. Now once we put our finger over the compressor, it's still only pulling 0.15 amps. The compressor will then start to pull more amperage through the relay and the battery, but our switch on the dash will stay the same because we're running everything through a relay. That's the main purpose of a relay. Since the relay can handle 30 or 40 amps, but a little tiny switch can't, we run a relay to the little smaller switch so the switch can operate the compressor through the relay. Very simple. All right, so I have a tail light here for a golf cart, 12 volt tail light. I have the ground wire from the tail light going to pin 30 of the relay, pin 87A of the relay, and pin 86 of the relay needs ground. Okay, so ground is powering the light and is also giving power or giving ground to the opposite side of the coil. Now, pin 86, this is the power right here. And if I attach it to this power, it's going to break continuity on the tail light. So right now I have the power wire of the tail light going to power. And as soon as I give the relay power, it's going to break continuity of the ground wire, and it's going to turn the light off. Relay is on, light is off. Relays off, light is on. So that's one way you can do to turn things on when other things turn off. Let's just say this was one of those security, fake security alarm blinking lights, and right now it was blinking when the car is off, and once you turn the car on, the little light turns off, but when you turn the car back off, it's blinking again. This right here is an example of how you can turn things on when the relay turns off and turn things off when the relay turns on. All right, so again, golf cart light, ground is going to pin 30. Pin 87 is this red wire. It's going to ground of the battery along with pin 85 for the coil. And once we give 86 power here, the light will turn on. Relays on, lights on. Relays off, lights off. So this right here is a function of the normally open side of the relay on 87 and 30. Relays. Once you wrap your head around this, it's not very hard at all. Okay, I only showed you a few different things you can do with this. You can control, 72 volts through a relay while using a 12 volt switch or vice versa. Give you an example here. Last year when I was building my big golf cart on 35s, I used a 12 volt relay along with a 12 volt switcher. And the reason I did that is because on the front of a golf cart where you have a switch to go forward or reverse, I didn't want to do that, so I had the body shaved and I had my painter paint over it to give it a custom look. Now, I used the 12 volt relay with a 12 volt switcher to send 72 volts from the battery to the controller. So when the switch is off, it's sending 72 volts through 30 and 87A, okay, through the switcher. Now when I press the switch on, it sends 72 volts through 30 and 87 for my reverse lights, for my reverse and my reverse lights as well. So that's like a custom modification with the relays. Now, are you gonna find that on all golf carts? No, but I wanted to shave the body of the front of my golf cart so it would just give it a custom look. I just wanted something different. I started adding relays and incorporating them in the DC to DC converters on golf carts because most of the DC to DC converters will convert 48 volts, 36 volts, 72 volts, whatever the pack volts of your golf cart is, down to 12 volts. So if you're sleeping, if you're at work, you're at church, you're at school, wherever you're at, away from your golf cart, the DC to DC converter will constantly convert pack voltage down to 12 volts. Well, started adding a relay in line to the power input side of the DC to DC converter so that the DC converter will only power on when I turn the key switch on of the golf cart. And I have several videos of me doing that in different kind of makes and models as well. I use relays for horns, for compressors, for all different kinds of things. And believe it or not, your car, your truck, they have relays built into the fuse blocks underneath the hood. 9 times out of 10, they will not have this top piece right here on there, but relays are a lot of fun if you don't have to use them just for a certain project. And if you can think of different ways to using them, you can have a lot of fun with using them and be creative. You can use relays together to turn things on and off. Like say your car door opens and your radio turns off, you can take 2 relays and wire up a schematics on there to do that as well. Tons of different things you can do with relays. And I love relays. I have a lot of fun with these things right here, and you can be really creative. I appreciate you guys watching today's video. If you like this video, please drop a like. It doesn't cost you anything. Subscribe to the channel. Again, it doesn't cost you anything. I try to come up with new videos once a week, 2 times a week. But yeah, we do a lot of golf cart content over here if you have a golf cart. If not, This year is going to be different. We're not doing all golf cart content this year, but I do have some more golf cart content to roll out before we get into doing some kind of off the wall things on the channel that I've had planned. But anyways, relays, had a lot of fun. I'm starting to ramble. We'll see you guys on the next one. See y'all later. Bye.